Dumelang, 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 Dumelang. You know the sound by now, and when you hear it, you know Maponyane-Kobua is definitely in the house. The pastor, the mom, the entrepreneur, the author, and of course the wife. She is here, and boy am I excited that you keep joining me, you keep commenting, you keep giving me feedback, you just keep, like, you are interactive, man bazalwane. I just love you. I love you. I appreciate you, and a big welcome to my new subbies. I see you. I keep seeing your notifications that you have pressed the subscription button, and really truly that is so appreciated. Thank you so much. We are moving and we are growing, and I just love the fact that I'm growing with you. I love the fact that, you know, we keep growing together. And yeah, what are we talking about today? You know, somebody said to me, yo, when you go for the topics that are difficult to talk about and that people would rather not talk about, the topics that people would rather push under the carpet. And I said to them, the reason why I do that is because social media lied to me. Social media lied to me about so many things, and when I got into those things and I actually got to see the real picture of those things, I knew that I wanted to rewrite that script. I knew that I wanted to change that narrative. So today's topic is also another hot one. It's also another hot one that I want to tackle, and I believe that by grace I'm going to be able to approach it in a way that will be satisfactory to people who will be watching, to approach it in a way that it will help someone by the time the video ends. What are we talking about? Boom. Alright, so I'm going to talk about being an instant mom. Yes, I'm going to talk about my journey of adjusting as an instant mom. You know, the pros, the cons, the joys, and the downside of it. You know, I'm going to try and really be as honest as I can in this conversation, and just share this in such an authentic manner that it doesn't rob anybody of the deliverance, of the healing, and of the stopping to feel bad about certain things. Because in this video there's gonna be lots and lots of I was feeling bad when so I'm hoping that by the end of the video somebody will say, okay, so I'm not gonna feel bad anymore. Okay, so before I even go anywhere, I first want to start about some sort of affirmation that my friend said, that sort of like made me realize just how blessed I am with my two boys. So Chiro, we were having a conversation, actually this week, okay, I get it this week, might not be at the time of the airing of this episode, but yeah. So we were having a conversation just before the end of March. And she was saying to me, you know, when they say God has got a quickening, and there's a quickening anointing in people's lives. You sleep one day unemployed, and you wake up, you are employed, and I see that in your life, not just with how your marriage came about and the baby and but I'm speaking about the fact that suddenly you are ahead of many of us. You are ahead of many of us. How? She said to me, my friend, I've never risen. Ooh, English. Saturday, guys. It deeply there by the end of Friday. I've never raised a teenager, and you are raising a teenager. And she actually said to me, and it's just dawned on me today as I was thinking about this, that I'm actually gonna go to Linda for counsel. The minute Uratile becomes a teenager, I'm gonna be like, yeah, things are happening in the house. what do I do? And you will actually be able to assist me because that's where you are now. I was like, oh my gosh, what a blessing, you know, what a blessing. I mean, she made me look at it so differently. Like she made me see it so differently. And I really saw it as a huge blessing. I saw it. I've always known that, oh my gosh, I'm blessed. Suddenly I've got tall sons that I look at like that. But when she said it like that, I was like, I mean, look at my God now. Look at him now. Look at what he do now. You know, so yeah, to those who don't know, I became an instant mom to two very handsome boys. One is 16 and one is 10. So I'm a mother of three. I'm a mother of three. I've got two firstborns. Isn't God good? I've got my firstborn, who's my big boy, and then I've got my firstborn. You know what I mean? Lamkushisha again. So I've got two firstborns. I mean, who has two firstborns? Oh, I do. Okay. So I've got three kids, and two of them turned me into an instant mom. And I think, you know, much as Lesedi's journey is different in its own way, different from the physical perspective of it, you know, that it started from day one kind of situation. They actually gave me a taste to what being a mom is. They gave me a taste to, what am I getting emotional? They gave me a taste to what being a mom is, and it's been quite a journey. It's been quite a journey. Obviously not like this, but a journey that I so deeply appreciate, because I am seeing, why am I emotional? Because I am seeing myself become a better version of myself because of them. I'm seeing myself become I'm not saying I was horrible, but I'm saying the person I was, as I watch the person I'm becoming. I love the person I'm becoming, and I am becoming because they are. Had it not been for them, I wouldn't be what I am becoming. And I also think that Lesedi's gonna have it easy because they sort of like paved the way, and they taught me how to soften my heart. They taught me how to go easy. And I know that it doesn't always look like that to them, but they taught me how to go easy. They're teaching me all these things that by the time their sister is older, she'll be walking, she'll be breezing. Yeah, they'll be like, when are you don't know, you know. Anyway, so I want to talk about the first phase, you know. So they were based in Durban with Daddy, and then when we got married, then they came up. Is it up? Yes, up. Then they came up to Joburg, because for me work is kind of like made sense, you know, because work is here for me. So they came up, made that big sacrifice, which I appreciate. Then they came this side, and suddenly we were looking for schools. Like, yeah, I moved from looking for venues, charity events, huh? Madam Pasta, huh? Looking for venues for my EDs, enterprise development in Dondoni, Sky Kai. We are doing this, we are hosting this, and we are doing that. Giddy business to looking for schools. Me, hey. So suddenly I'm looking for schools, and looking for uniform, and now I in a split second, I shifted from being responsible to myself, or being guarding over myself only and worrying about me only, to worrying about other people. You know, I'm not going to talk about my husband in this case, because you know what I mean, like, you understand. But now there's these people, these little people who now depended on me. You know, what an honor. But also what a deep level of stewardship and responsibility it came with, because then God is now trusting you to then shape these young men into becoming that which he wants them to be. And how you do it, how you execute it, and how you let them become is key to the future community, and so forth and so on. So anyway, so then when we then moved in looking for schools and all of that, things were at a fast pace, fast pace. And once the schools were found and the kids are now home and we are now, all of us here, I was starting to feel the adjustment of you kind of don't do as you please anymore. Initially it was Prudence, off we went to go preach, and then McDonald's and then I drive in, and then I get into my bedroom with my McDonald's, and I'm having my McDonald's while watching TV or whatever the case is, and then I sleep, But now it's different because there's people who are really depending on me, so the adjustment was huge. It was like my head was spinning at one stage. Or wait, they are all mine, all of them, from head to toe, So that adjustment was quite stretching, and it taught me to be very, very thoughtful, to put other people first. I really do have to make this disclaimer. I'm an only child. I must say that I'm not really a selfish person, but many things really were about me, my chair, my car, my this, like it was my. Now, when you are in this new setup, is ours. It just suddenly had to start being ours. Did it become ours like this? No. I mean, there was a lot of adjustment and peeling off of a layer on a daily basis, sometimes on a second basis, where you are realizing, okay, I'm not being thoughtful here, where I was realizing, okay, I'm not thinking for others here, and sometimes it had to take my husband to make me aware, hore, love, and sometimes it wouldn't be nice when it's being said to you, because then you are feeling unkind, and all sorts of things, that, oh my gosh, so the fact that he had to say it means I was being unkind, it means I was being, all of those things. So that was the first phase. So in that phase, then there was the many adjustments that I was seeing. So one of the things that I do now when I approach life, if God sends somebody in my life, be it a friend, be it an acquaintance, be it a colleague, be it a ministry partner, whatever, usually I think from a selfless place. I don't say, what am I going to get from this person? Usually I think, why did God send this person to me? What are they meant to get from me that God has graced me with, that I need to grant to them? Be it my knowledge, be it my expertise, be it my heart, be it my anything. And I give it, and when I give it Shem, I give it wholeheartedly. People who've experienced me in that regard, I hope you are in the timelines and you can attest to it. I give like selflessly, so I pack mine and I put that one first. So one of the first things that I did in my own silence, in my own little corner, was just to start seeing the gaps that had been happening from when daddy was raising them alone, just to see, oh, okay, from the eye, from the lens of a mom. And I have to say this. It's so amazing how motherhood is such an innate thing. And I know that subject to debate, but I found that for me it was so innate and so natural that I would sit and I would watch and I'd be like, okay, that needs a mother's touch. Okay, that needs a mother's touch. That needs a mother's intervention. That needs a mother's intervention. That needs a mother's intervention. And I was deliberate in doing that because I realized that Mr. K had raised these children alone for a very long time. And in that period, he was not all-knowing, all-powerful, all-resourceful, hey, I can do this. There were certain things that he probably was not even aware that he's not doing right. There were certain things that he probably deliberately made a decision that I'm not even going to bother because I get a capacity. Let me rather concentrate on the provision side of things, the school side, like the very basics. And I could see those things, as and when we were going. Or I see this here, I see that there, I see that there. So then what then happened at that time is I could literally see two cultures coming together. Two parenting styles were beginning to come together. Two cultures were coming together. How I was brought up and how things were done, and what I've always known to be the way things are being fixed, the way Wana is being reprimanded, and I saw myself now giving that which had been instilled in me. Is that the right English? Yeah. With them on the other side, I can't even say my husband, how he grew up. I'll just say they had been with him. So his parenting style was what they knew. So in the beginning, the one of the biggest things that we both had to adjust to with him, but I think primarily me, was the fact that I had to find the wisdom to now place myself into this puzzle, right? Into this puzzle where he had been doing things in a certain way, and now I am coming in and I'm seeing the gaps. I'm seeing the gaps, and my responsibility, and I come with an assignment that says, you saw the gaps as a mom. Something he is not graced to do, you need to do it. You need to do it. And the truth of it is, because we are not used to each other at the time, I'm talking about in the beginning. Okay, let me just attend. Okay, I forgot my trail of thought now. But yeah, another beauty of being married, everything comes with its pros and cons, but one of the for me in this situation is that because my husband had raised the boys alone for such a long time, he's so handy, like he's here. I get there, putting the baby to sleep, I'm like, well, he's like, oh no, don't worry, go work. I'm like, all right. So what I was saying was, my responsibility was to then find the gaps and close the gaps, because he is not graced with the motherly intuition and anayona. It's not there. I'm the one who now comes with it. Wumbically, I come with it, and naturally, I come with it. But also correctically, I come with it, and also, you know what I mean. So I then started, noticing quite a few things that needed adjustment. So what I would do usually, not all the time. I don't want to present this video as if everything was just falling into place. Most of the time, or some of the times, what I would do is I would, alert him. What, love? I've noticed that, the boys would come back from school, they'd quickly do their homework, and then they would be watching television. I'm an academic, so I believe let's come back from school, let's do our homework, and then let's just spend an hour or more on just revising on one subject. On Monday, the next day, another subject. And it's something he had never, not that he didn't care, but it's something he had never invested in. And he was like, I'm giving you free reins in terms of the academic side of things. You take care of it. You do that. Where you see the need, fill the need. And then I went in. fill the need, reka di file, reka di ing. Now we're setting up study plans. Boys, Monday, what are your subjects? This one, right. Monday, here's your file. Tuesday, here's your file. Wednesday, here's your file. And scribblers, bring your scribblers, reka the file divider, and you know, all of those things. Put them in the files. Mark them, business, economics, life science, whatever. When you come back from school, just choose one subject for one day. And I must say that not everything was like immediately, you know. There are certain things where you could tell that it's almost like, do we have to? You know, kind of situation. Like, do we really have to, mommy? And one of the things that Phumzile taught me, you know, it's so amazing. Guys, it's important to surround yourself with people who are wealthy with counsel and wealthy with wisdom, you know. One of the things that Phumzile taught me, long before I even became an instant mom, Ukile Arukona, always communicate your why. Don't say to kids, don't do that, or you are not allowed to have a sweetie at night, and that's where it ends. Always communicate your why. You can't have sweets at night because this. This is the why I'm saying this. This is the reason why I'm saying this. So I was then able, when I could see that they were a bit thrown aback by the, do we really have to do this every day after school? Why? I mean, then I would communicate my why. So the reason I'm saying this is because you'll always be one step ahead of your peers. You will always, like I would give my reasons and explain my reasons. And to an extent where in the beginning, though it was difficult, I could see, so one time my youngest son's friend came over. In the morning they wake up on Saturday, Bangari Buka. And I can tell that the friend is like, what's a halam? Bangari Buka. So Saturday morning they would have like an hour or two of just looking at this and this and that. And then they've got the whole day to do whatever they want to do. So Bangari Buka, they're sitting at the table and they, you know, going through the homeworks, assignments, and just seeing, polishing things and so forth. And my eldest son said to the friend, to my youngest son's friend, this is an academic house here. When we wake up here, we look at school books and then we can do everything. And the way he said it with conviction, I was like, I made it. I made it. You know, just seeing how he then embraced the culture and how he embraced the pattern and carried it like it's now his own. Did it happen immediately? It didn't, you know. So I want to then speak about, you know, the truth of, you know, the dynamics where daddy feels this way and I feel this way. I want to speak about that. So there'll be situations in the dynamics or in the day's events where there's an event that is going on, and then event I then feel, you know, you could have done it like this, or I'm more on the strict side, daddy is more on the guys, why you do this? Mia, why did you? You know, so there'd be those days where there's a difference of opinion, or, you know, we differ in how we feel the matter should have been approached, especially if it's already happened, how it should have been approached. What I found in the beginning was that each time he would make me aware that you could have done it better, or you could have said it better. You had a point, but it's how you said it, or you had a point, but it's how you addressed it at the time that I feel it may have lost its significance because of how your delivery may have like messed up your intention. So every time he says that, I would quickly run to guilt moment. Guilt mode rather. I would quickly run to guilt mode and feel, oh my gosh, they're gonna hate me. Oh. And I think one of the things that I was doing in the beginning was even though I was implementing certain things where I want you, whenever I speak at some point, just think gap, closed gap. She came in, saw the gap, and communicated. Sometimes didn't communicate, just closed the gap. But at times I would be feeling guilty, even for the things that were supposed to happen. But the fact that Daddy raised it, to me, it meant something else. It meant he may have felt I was overly cruel, I was overly unkind, I was just hearing things that were not being said to me, and I think it's because I also was approaching this with somewhat an element of trying too hard not to be the typical, the other word that I don't want to use, the typical mom who stepped in, who and how they are perceived to be treating children. So whenever he would say to me, you could have done it this way, and I also think one of the biggest contributors to that approach, and the crying and the feeling guilty and the feeling horrible and the going to the car and walking in the complex not knowing where I'm going, was also because I was pregnant. So there was a lot of emotions where I'm doing everything. I'm guarding myself not to be unkind. I'm guarding myself not to be less gentle than I should be, all of those things. And because I was so careful, it's easy to make mistakes when you are overly careful, So just be careful, instant mommy, that you don't overly kiska. Sometimes just be a mom. Why are the dishes not washed? Why is it that get 3 o'clock a biological mom can say the same thing. A biological grandmother can say the same thing. A mom who stepped in can say the same thing. So sometimes I had to remind myself not to overthink even the things where there was not even the slightest of evidence of being unkind. I would overly think it, and I would constantly seek validation from him, for him to, and I think because I was unsure of certain things, sometimes am I doing it right, am I saying it right? So I truly really did need him to say, you're on the right track, you're doing so well, I appreciate this, I appreciate that. And my husband being on the more quieter side, and me yeah, he's more, and some of the things he wouldn't say them, and when he's not acknowledging some of the things, I would then feel thrown away. It means I messed up. I messed up. Lord Jesus, please don't strike me with 10 bottles. Please don't. I literally just have that moment. I'm just pressurizing myself to be too kind, too nice, and. So I would be longing for his validation, for him to, to constantly say, you're doing well, don't worry, don't overthink it, don't. And I think, what they say in marriage, habari, look at your spouse how they are and accept them how they are. I had to come to a point where I look at some of the things that he does as affirmation, as opposed to getting the actual words that he's going to say, you're doing well. I look at things like, let me take you out for ice cream, and I'd realize, he must be appreciating something. Did I not communicate my need for him to affirm me? I did. Is he trying? Absolutely, he is. When the boys' grades went up from 1 average to the very top, Lynn was like, what just happened to my boys? He came through and he affirmed and he thanked me, and he then one day said to me, Hore, keep doing it. They might not see it today, but one day they're going to look back and say, okay, maybe now and again, there might be those little feelings, so, she's too strict, she's too that. But one day they'll look back and say, we actually needed this particular individual to be here. So he'd appreciate whenever he sees changes here, improvements here with the boys. They even in their space, in their immediate space, their rooms and so forth, I'd appreciate, and he'd add to it, to them and to me, that, thank you, baby, for this, that. And that would like make me feel that, whew, I'm on the right track. Then there would be, situations where he's a one sentence kind of guy. Example, he's done. He's addressed it. He's done. Now, on the other hand, and how sa di phumula, so there's gonna be there's gonna be bacteria, there's gonna be this. Do you realize it means every time I must wash them? Like, now there'll be a long story, two sentences. And I found that, as we continue to parent them, because it's not done, it's not finished, it's here for a lifetime, for as long as we are still alive, and then we are going to be separated by death. For as long as this is it, by grace, for as long as this is it, I truly believe, okay, I forgot my trail of thought. Okay, so the parenting hasn't stopped. The parenting is not finished. We are still going to parent them. We are still going to continue to parent them. And so I can't really say what we've achieved is hey, done, okay, scholars pumile. No, it's school every day. It's parenting school every day. So one of the things that I also found that was a bit of a, shaky challenge for the two of us was when we would be in situations where, like I said, he's a one sentence kind of guy. Now I'm expecting him to come on board, because I'm like, and I gotta go, maybe it's something major. It's not like then I would want to make a big hoo-ha over something this small, like something major. And I would be like, let's have this conversation, guys. Why is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 not happening? And then he'd be like, man, he's done. I'm thinking, and I think some of my anxiety and my panics would then be from ish, daddy's done talking, I'm still talking, the guilt. And he would constantly say to me, they need it. They need to hear they needed to hear it. My words and my vocab and my expression is limited, but they actually needed someone who will, I tempele, and let them understand it deeply. So there would be that dynamic here. I would want him to come on board when there's a little reprimanding happening. Did you see? And he'd just look and say, what's about it? And I'd be like, why is his conversation done? How is it even possible that this guy is done? And I think for the both of us, it then came to a point where not only was he adjusting to seeing that, okay, so you are more lengthy in your conversation and your expressions are more limited. I then also had to come to a place where I understood that when we were in private, if he didn't say anything about what was said to the boys in public, it means there was nothing wrong. And I would slowly learn to shed off the guilt that was not imposed, or the feeling bad that was not imposed by perhaps correction, you didn't do it right, you should have done it like this, and so forth and so on. I hope I make sense. So every time I had to learn to unlearn this thing of feeling bad, even when nobody said anything to me. Like I'd be like, oh my gosh, this is the most cruel thing I could have ever done. This is just horrible. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that I did this. So then there would be, okay, if there's one thing then that I need to also share, which is on the jokes side of things. So when I was pregnant, my youngest son had a birthday. Ramutsa, what do you want? He wants to go out, Papachino's or something like that. We went to Papachino's down the road. Harafisha, we're sitting at the table, and then he says to me, "Mommy, what should..." He's a very kind of guy. Mommy, yeah. Thought crossed my mind. I want to say it while in this moment. So he's a more mushy kind of guy. He says, "Mommy, what should I drink?" I said to him, "Reka milkshake." And he was like, "No, I don't want a milkshake. I don't want a milkshake." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." Then he asks Daddy, "Daddy, what should I drink?" Daddy said, "No, Reka milkshake." She's like, "Oh, okay, I'll have a milkshake." Did I not stand up? Went to the bathroom. I'm pregnant, guys. Gonna go like Nila. I cried a river. I texted you. I even called him like, "He doesn't like me. He doesn't like me. My friend. He asked me what to drink. I said milkshake. He said no. He asked Daddy immediately. And then he said, yeah, he doesn't like me." It was such a dramatic day. Prior to that, we were leaving home. On the same day, going to Papachino. So my husband says to me, you all know. I'm like, it's not a big event. We're just going out, to taking this guy out. Just wear a tracksuit or something like that. He was like, I need to look good. It's a big day. It's my son's birthday. And because I'm also on the sensitive side of things, I'm hearing what he's doing. He's like, yeah, okay. So maybe now I'm not taking this day serious because I stepped in. And I'm not crying to him. Chiho, that day, collected all the tears. She has them in a bottle somewhere in Bulugwan. I must go get them. My friend, yeah. Are you okay? I'm fine. Come on, so there was then that element that of course was going with the pregnancy and the emotions and so forth. So I had to kind of catch my tears a lot of times when I felt unseen, unrecognized by the boys for whatever reason, and somewhat find myself pinning it to, could it be because I reprimanded for, and then today, so hey, it's a big one. It's a big one. So one of the things I also want to talk about was that I also did a lot of YouTube channel watching. I would look for channels, mothers who stepped in, and I would then hear what they have to say. They would give quite good counsel, beautiful counsel, they give beautiful counsel. I'd listen, I'd take it all in, I'd receive it with all of my heart, but I really must say this, to all the mummies who stepped in right now, that also just be careful of the many voices that you are going to listen to. There's something I'm going to share now that became a struggle for me for months, and it wasn't just for 1 month, it was for such a long time. So I went on Twitter one time. It was not even about the situation, it was just on Twitter. So I'm on the Twitter streets, and I see a tweet of a girl who then says, growing up with my stepmom, she used to relax miriri ya bana ba hae, and she would take the cream that's worked and put it on my hair while there was still a fresh one in the container. It was going to be for their use next time. So she'd use that one on me. To this day, I'd rather keep natural hair than do this. Then there was a whole timeline. People were just commenting. People were commenting. And I think that day was one of the biggest emotion jerkers for me. Is there such a word? Yeah. But it was one of the worst days for me, that would then drag for months because of that one tweet. Then there would be another one who said, we were in the car, I went out of the car, I closed the door, I banged it by mistake, she stepped out, she slapped me and slapped me and slapped me, I was on the floor, I had to open the door again and close it properly. And then the guy said, to this day, I still find myself having to close my car door more than once, because even with his own car, because he had gotten used to having to do it so gently, it's now overlapped to his adult years, and he's doing it with his own car, you know. And I read, I couldn't stop reading, and I think as I was reading, at some point I was like, I'm reading to find me. I'm reading to find me or anything similar, so that I can know what I've been doing wrong and if I should correct it, and I did share with Mr. K, of course, and I was like, yo, baby, I saw this tweet, I'm crying at the time I saw this tweet, and this is what they're saying on this tweet. I told my other sister, Hazel, I was like, what is this tweet? And she was like, don't do that to yourself. You are trying too hard, Linda. You are trying too hard not to be the typical stepmom that the society speaks about. And I don't want you to do that. You need to relax and you need to take it easy. Because the more you do this, the more you are going to question even on the things that the boys would actually need your counsel. You would be like, Ish, I want to say it, but yeah, chaba. I want to say it, but I'd rather not say it. And I found myself doing that. By the time she said it, I had already started doing it, where Daddy would be away on business, Daddy would be in Lesotho, whatever the case may be. I'd see this and I'd be like, yo, you know, I used to find it comfortable to reprimand while he is at home, so that he can then say, no, but I heard your tone, I heard you were not really coming from a bad place, as opposed to what if they then say it but exaggerate, like, yo. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. But, you know, I think all in all, I really do thank God for the husband that God blessed me with. He's not a perfect human being, by no means. But I must say right now that though in the beginning, of course, Liana, maybe he may have had his own reservations about, I wonder how this is going to pan out as we adjust and get to know each other. Because remember, met on Twitter July, August Lengwalo, September Lobola, October got married. For us, it was a big adjustment, because I'm adjusting to know this guy and these two little people. And Liana, it's not a case of, but no, over the years when we were dating, I could tell that, this, you know, it's a, ooh, okay, so you are like this. Oh, okay, so you are like this. So for both of us, there was that level of shock, you know, for both of us, I must say, you know, where he too had to see certain things in the field here, and accept them here, and, you know, of course, raise concerns here, or ish can be done like this, can be done like that, let's be a little easy here, and so forth. But it was trial and error in the beginning. Okay, and then there's this one. Also, another thing that I realized or noticed with him in the beginning was that I don't know if I should say he would feel guilty leaving the boys behind, but we would have our get up. Remember, we didn't have a honeymoon. We got married. Like, there was just boo, 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 boo. And I needed all the time I could have with him. Get to know him, you know, romantic man, busy, you know. So there would be situations where he would suggest a getaway and he'd say, we're going with the boys. And at the back of my mind, I want to express the, can we do it alone and then we'll have another one with the boys, maybe go holidays or whatever. But be scared to say it because you don't want to walk in and already look like you are excluding them. So you do it, but you do it at the back of your mind thinking, hey, you know. But I knew where it was coming from. I even told him, I said to him, you're going to have to shed off the guilt. There's going to be things that we're going to do as you and I, excluding them, and then there's going to be things that we do together. I even referred him to our premarital counselor who said to us, don't be afraid or feel guilty of going to holidays and leaving them behind. Leave all of them behind. Go lili wane, you know. So I could see that he wasn't weaned off immediately off of it. Because obviously with holidays, it was just the three of them. So every holiday, they're together. Every holiday, they go together. So even here, a holiday, mommy, you are now part of it? Hurry, go for it. You know, so I had to like caution him, you know, but hey, I had to, you know, say it after the trip, not before, after the trip, and say like, you know what, can we, you know, but I think all in all, the biggest thing would be just to communicate expectations, also just to give each other also room to make mistakes. What's my kind of just, and which is one thing that he did well. He also just allowed me sometimes and said, okay, if you want to do it, do it. You know, and after I chase, I would then come back with a new lens on, because now I'm understanding, oh, okay, so when I do it like this, the outcome is A and it's not good. So sometimes make those mistakes, but learn from them, make the amendments where necessary. You know, husbands, if mommy stepped in, or mommy, if daddy stepped in, affirm. Don't only raise things when you are raising a concern, you know, you didn't speak nice, and then when there's nice things, you don't mention them as well, you know, to say, this is where you did well, this is where you did good, so that the guilt is lessened, the guilt becomes not as intense, because about, oh, okay, so much as he's recognizing that I can be a little bit on the hot-headed side, he's also recognizing where I am doing well, and he's voicing it out equally so. So yeah, that is that. And I think yeah, I don't know if I'm forgetting anything. If maybe my parting thought would then be, you know, one of the things, one of my biggest lessons or the biggest mistakes that I did was that I approached certain things with a red pen. Wrong. And when you then become the mom who sounds like the teacher at school, they're not able to reach to you as a mom. If anything, almost drop a cup, already they're looking at you because they like, she's about to say it's wrong. When this happens, they already, you know, guarding, is she going to say wrong or whatever. And I had to make that quick adjustment. And I want you to understand that, obviously, because this is a short video, some of the things I'm saying, I made an adjustment. Didn't happen overnight. It had to take prayer, as lots of it. Lots of prayer, lots of grace. Lord, grace. You know, for me to finally see certain things, especially the ones maybe where hubby's also not seeing them, or he feels, there's nothing wrong, where the Lord shows me, you could have done it better, and then I make the amendments. And also another big thing is I apologize when I have spoken out of turn or said anything that I wasn't supposed to say. I'll say, you know, son, I realize that I may have acted too quickly, and for that I'm sorry. For that I apologize. I hope you find in your heart to forgive me, and just understand that mommy is just being mommy. I'm sorry about that. And also another thing, I almost forgot this. I then asked daddy to do a check-in with them. I said, look, take one of them, one each individually. Go to McDonald's, go to wherever. When you get there, do a check-in. Do a check-in where you are just checking in, how are you doing? You know, how are things going? So that we are able to also just get where they are at. And because it's you, they might open up, you know what, mommy, or this situation or that situation. When you come back, it is not to gossip them. It's more than anything for me to be able to get to see where they are at, because sometimes they might not feel as free to tell me, so that I can then make the adjustments to say, oh okay, he said this, I see, it must have been that day when this happened and that happened. Let me try and do better. Let me readjust myself. Let me, you know. And also with certain things, I try not to be overly overwhelming. I'm going to give you an example. I mean, my boys grew up in a boys' house. They didn't grow up in a household that has a mom. And with that reason, my younger one was like this tall at one stage. She was 9. And you know, I would want to papa, mommy needs to bath you. And he'd be like, mommy, but you can't come in here, you're a girl. I'm not a girl, I'm your mom, you know. So there would be those adjustments that had to happen, you know, where I also had to apply grace in understanding that a female figure that was there was Rakadi and not necessarily mommy. And the truth about this particular figure is what they are now seeing, you know. So yeah, I then had to find ways to readjust myself to being less overwhelming and less intrusive, because they are not used to it. So yeah, that's that. I really truly do hope that this long conversation is going to be fruitful and is going to help someone will be watching and saying, okay, so I'm not mad for feeling guilty after conversations, after this, after that. So, and that's it for today, and I hope that you will be commenting, you'll be sharing. My child is crying. You will be subscribing. Let me finish quickly. I will see you at my next video. Let me go check her, and goodbye.